here in the United States of any sort. They're never going after the real enemy of America today, or the real foreign enemy, the Islamic terrorists. They're always going after the skinheads. They're always going after the KKK. They're always going the white Christians, the gun owners. So we're going to talk more about that this morning, or I should say this afternoon, here on The Savage Nation. William is calling from the left coast. William, you're on the air. We were just talking about all the money that's been spent on the war on poverty, and what have we gotten out of it, William?
Hey, this sure is a treat listening to you twice in one day, Brian.
Thank you.
I was just listening to your comments about the war on poverty, which has been fought for the last 50 years. And like you just pointed out, it really hasn't changed anything. So we should take the advice of our president, who said that if you try the same thing for 50 years and it hasn't worked, maybe we should try something different.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a nice thought? Try something different. Appreciate your call. Lori's in Texas, WBAP. Lori, we were also talking about how the Secretary of Education is fond of the idea of public boarding schools. Your thoughts, please.
Yes, in regard to that, it seems like that you would be creating a problem because you're ripping kids away from their families at 5 years old if they're going to kindergarten there. And it seems like that they would have a problem bonding. They've bonded to their family, and now they're being torn away from their family to live in an institutional type of environment. It seems like you'd be creating a lot of sociopaths that way.
And maybe that's the goal. Maybe they want sociopaths that are properly indoctrinated so they can further the transformation of America. Lori, thanks for your call. Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage on this, The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust to protect my wealth with gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN.
Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage on this, The Savage Nation. Michael, of course, very busy with the book tour regarding Countdown to Mecca, which was released yesterday. It's the final episode of the trilogy that started with Abuse of Power and A Time for War. So this is Countdown to Mecca, and so many people have been waiting for this. Now, you're going to hear the liberals talking about this. Oh, it's a plot to destroy Islam's holy city. No. Don't listen to that. It's a plot to stop the destruction of Islam's holy city. This is a book with twists and turns, and it's a page-turner. We'll talk more about it. If we could, please, let's go to David, listening on WJR in Detroit. David, we've been talking about the train wreck, which is the United States of America under Barack Obama. Go right ahead, please.
Hey, brother, thanks for taking my call. You know, what I want to say is that what's happening in America and what a lot of people are fearful is going to happen, it's been happening. Growing up in Detroit, I can tell you the situation. Growing up in Detroit, there was two houses on my block that were selling drugs. They did a sting. They came with helicopters. They came with tanks, and they shut down the block. And they arrested every meal on that block, including me. I was 15 at the time. They took us all to jail, right? They went to every house, even the law-abiding citizens. People on our block been calling about the two trouble houses, right? But when they came, they arrested everybody. Now, what about our freedom? What about us? And you know, it didn't even hit the news. But my point is that you worry about something happening, it's already happened. It's been happening.
And David, my guess is you're not making a racial statement. You're not saying this was motivated by race. You're saying this was the DEA swooping in and taking everybody with them.
Brother, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's bigger than race. It's bigger.
All right, listen, David, you make a point that we need to expand upon, put it in context, and we will, I promise. By the way, coming up in the next hour, we have an interview with Michael Savage, who's off today, Brian Sussman, filling in on this, The Savage Nation.
Warning: The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Yes, it is The Savage Nation. Brian Sussman filling in for Dr. Savage. I've been a listener to The Savage Nation since the 90s. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, work on the station that he essentially founded, KSFO, and it's a pleasure to be filling in today. Dr. Savage has been very busy with his book tour because the new book is out, and I know literally thousands of you have been anticipating this, The Countdown to Mecca. So it's the final episode of this trilogy that began with Abuse of Power and A Time for War. And I will tell you something. Michael has told me, I've asked him the question. You're going to hear an interview I conducted with Michael a little bit later this hour. It's an interview from this morning. But I was asking Mike, why this book? Why all of these books? I mean, he's a prolific author. And he told me I had to go to the novel for this particular book and this particular content to get some of my ideas across that I'm reluctant to state on the radio for fear of boycotts, etc. So, yes, it's a novel, but it is so timely. In fact, the Washington Times has called this power fiction tinged with terrorism and intrigue and combined with an old-school rough-and-tumble journalist as its hero. So, again, get the book, Countdown to Mecca. Can't recommend it highly enough. Crazy stuff in the news. Now, obviously, the train wreck. Terrible. Train wreck, they're telling us now the train was trying to go around a curve at 100 miles an hour. I don't know what was happening. Right off the bat, they told us it's not terrorism. Don't worry, not terrorism. Even though they didn't know what occurred, it wasn't terrorism. So the train wreck is giving cover to the Obama administration and Hillary for their undoing of America. The one piece of audio we played in the first hour, and we'll play it again, has to do with the Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, declaring that he wants public boarding schools. He thinks that would be a great idea. A lot of people want to talk about that, and we'll get to your calls. You've got Congressman Hank Johnson from Georgia saying the poor are going to rise up. You'll hear that coming up as well here on The Savage Nation. We've also got Obama yesterday just, going after the wealthy in this country. So I guess it's going to be, the haves versus the have-nots. That's what you're going to hear from all of these sound bites we're about to play. The haves versus the have-nots. I hear something that I've never heard before in my lifetime. People talk about gentrification. Oh, the rich are moving in. Oh, the rich whiteys are moving in. The rich, different colories. It doesn't matter. Isn't it good when the rich move in and expand their influence? That means more people are making it, right? That means more people are going up from the lower classes to the upper classes. Isn't that a good thing? When I see neighborhoods changing, isn't that a good thing? That means there are more people doing well. To me, the liberals will paint it this way because they either they don't understand money or they really do, but they're so hell-bent on socialism, they want to ignore the truth, which may be the case. But they make it seem as if money is a zero-sum game. There's only so much, and if the rich get theirs, that means you're not going to get yours. They don't understand that wealth is created. So here's Obama yesterday. He's calling successful businessmen and women society's lottery winners. This is clip 15. Take a listen.
The top 25 hedge fund managers made more than all the kindergarten teachers in the country. So when I say that, I'm not saying that because I dislike hedge fund managers or I think they're evil. I'm saying that you're paying a lower rate than a lot of folks who are making $300,000 a year.
Here we go again. Yeah, he doesn't dislike the ones that pay to play with Democrats. Doesn't like those kind. He likes those kind. This is absolutely ridiculous. Wealth is created. And by the way, those hedge fund managers, and I know plenty living here in the Silicon Valley, these are people that have a certain skill that the rest of us don't have. You know, we all have this relationship with money that's rather interesting, isn't it? You can have a PhD and be clueless when it comes to money. You'll spend 110% of what you make. And you can be someone who just legally immigrated into this country, no formal education whatsoever, and you understand money. You know how to make it. You know how to save it. You know how to leverage it. You know how to take calculated risk with it. I mean, some have the ability and some do not. Now, those who do not can learn. I mean, it's just like all of the engineers. You look at every study that comes out right now regarding best majors that have the best money coming out of college, best majors for making the greatest amount of money during your lifetime. They're all in engineering. Science, technology, engineering, math, STEM. It's all of that. Now, if we did a better job, Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education, of teaching our kids how to do math instead of this Common Core dreck, maybe we'd have a chance. We wouldn't have to import our engineers. I'm in the Silicon Valley. I look everywhere. All these people on the H-1B visas because we can't create enough here. So we bring them over, pay them less. We'd hire domestically if we could. We don't have enough people in these engineering schools because we're too busy teaching these kids, about the sexual agenda, redefining morality, teaching them God knows what in these schools. And so now Arnie Duncan wants to create schools where they've got them 24/7. Do you really think these are going to be institutions of higher learning where they're going to be teaching them math and teaching them science? No, it's going to be a total indoctrination. So they'll have drones. Snap of the fingers, boom, they're ready to play. Listen to Obama continue here. Let's go to clip 17. He's talking about the rich being society's lottery winners. Listen to this.
If we can't ask from society's lottery winners to just make that modest investment, then really this conversation is for show.
Okay, you know what?
If we can't
You're for show. You're for show, and I'll go when it comes to socialism. Here's the deal. You look at the statistics, we can dig them out. The top 10%. You're in the top 10% of wage earners, I believe, if you're making $130K or more. Okay, that's a lot of money. I get it. You're in the top 10% if you're making $130K. I can pull up the statistics, but I believe the top 10% are paying about half of all federal taxes. It may be more than that. It may be 70%. I'll dig up the stats for you. The rich pay their fair share. And by the way, just because you have a high salary does not mean you're rich. That just means you have a high income. You could be highly leveraged having that income. Rich, to me, is a person that has enough in the way of assets that they don't have to work. And they probably had to work their behind off to get in that particular position. All right, let's go to the line. There's more to talk about, and we will, I promise you, including, what was the story I saw here? This was a wild one. The Florida funeral home? This is nuts. So I'm watching, I've got the big bank of monitors here in my studio, so I'm monitoring all the news channels. I just saw this on Fox. 2 Florida funeral home workers are in trouble, as they should be. They were driving the body of a lieutenant colonel from our military to his memorial service. And they stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts. I'm looking at the video. There's the big black hearse in the back. There's a casket draped with an American flag. They're stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts. Are you kidding me? What are they thinking? And on top of that, you have a veteran in the back. Whew. It's getting crazy out there, folks. It is getting nutso. All right, let's go to the lines. How about... Okay, I like this. And I'm out here on the left coast. Mike is on the other coast. WABC. Okay, so you got this mayor in New York City, de Blasio, and he has a lot in common with this Arnie Duncan guy you're saying. Go ahead, Mike. You're on the air.
He wants free daycare for every citizen, regardless of income level in New York City. So what a lot of the people and a lot of the liberals and white liberals don't understand is that, but you understand it, entitlements are good, but entrapment is not good. So Duncan what he's doing is he's creating generational poverty, one generation